Okay, so in this module, we're going to be talking about creating the product that you want to sell, the passive income product that's going to start making you money and earn you income over time. So we really want to make sure that we get this absolutely right, that we know as much about it as possible, and that we do an amazing job of creating beautiful art printables that are perfect for our target audience and perfectly on brand. So I'm going to go a little bit more in depth in this video about what it is that makes an art printable, what it is that makes it sell and makes it worthwhile even creating. And then we're going to talk about how you can actually create one yourself. So I don't know if you've seen, but I have a video on YouTube that basically explains how I create an art printable, and it's just a bigger general overview of just grabbing the template and uploading typography and clip art and then downloading it ready to be put up onto Etsy. But over the time of having that video, I kind of had a lot more people ask me some interesting questions about real specific elements of what makes a good art printable versus a not so good art printable, especially on the Etsy platform. So I'm going to let you have a little bit of a sneak tour around probably the most important program that I use, which is my Canva. And I have used it to create a considerable amount of art printables over time, and some of them have done really well, and some of them don't even get a look in, and sometimes it surprises me which ones have done absolutely amazingly and which ones haven't. So one of the most popular ones that has done really well is this one. It's a lashes designed art printable, and I think what made this one really popular at the time is it hit upon a trend that I discovered through using Google Trends, through using Marmalade and even Etsy Rank. And I really started creating a collection of printables that was really inspired around lashes and makeup and all that kind of stuff, because it was very in. And I probably made about 20 different sewed designs around that niche that I knew was quite popular at the time, and it also went still within my brand, and one of them really took off, and this one is still now to this day my most popular print. But there have been fluctuations. I have had seasons where certain other art printables have done really well, bathroom related ones or bedroom related ones. And like I talked about in an earlier module about the importance of finding a micro niche and a style of art printable that you can really go for and that is really popular on Etsy, every time that you create a single art printable, you need to think, who are you creating it for and what reason are you creating it? Is it because you've seen on Google Trends and Marmalade and whatnot that area within your niche? So for example, with me being very girly art prints, that lashes and makeup had become super popular. It was trending on Google, it was doing really well on Marmalade, and so I decided to create a collection of prints around that. And I really do suggest that that's how you go about it. Just blindly creating art printables that you really like and whacking them up no matter what time of year or occasion or whatever's going on is just a much harder way to try and build traffic and to try and really capitalize on what your audience are really looking for. Now, I'm not saying that you have to start creating really random things that are nothing to do with your brand, but you just need to pay really key attention to what's popular in your niche. So when I went to create another set of art printables, I really noticed that bathroom decor was really big. So I did my homework. I tried to figure out, using the tools that we've mentioned before, what was really trending. I used Marmalade, looking at their keywords. I looked at Etsy Rank, seeing what the most popular sellers were selling. And I noticed that super girly bathroom prints were doing quite well. So I started making designs around those. This one here, welcome to the Pamper Room. There's just a ton of different art print styles that I tried to kind of center around bathroom designs. And basically I did the same thing. I created a number of them, I put them up, I really pushed and promoted them, and again, one or two started catching on and they started making sales. And I think this is a really key way to, every time that you are thinking about creating a collection of art printables or just one art printable, you really need to have a clear focus of why and who you are targeting that for. That's basically what I do when it comes to how I decide what art printables to create. I'll do my homework, I'll see what's popular, what's trending on Etsy, what's growing in my niche and particularly on Etsy, and then I'll start creating 10 to 20 designs around that start uploading them over the next month, or if you're really early in your shop, over the next number of days, and just start to give them some time to build and grow and see if any of them take off. And that's how I've always done it as I've grown my business. As soon as I started realizing that just blindly whacking up anything that I thought looked cool just wasn't working. So another question that I always get as well is kind of how much typography to clip art should I be using when it comes to my art printables, and also how big should my font be. And as you can see, some of these are just, I've not added them at all. I just love to play on Canva, but some I have created and added a mixture of typography and clip art, and some is just purely focused on clip art. But as you can see, I use different mixes. But what I've tended to discover is that using larger text and just simpler text, so just a couple of words that make up a slogan, tends to do a lot better than long and small and complicated wording. And I think the reason for that is because it's difficult for somebody to see what's actually written on your little art printable in those small Etsy images that there are. So having big, bold writing tends to do better for the most part, not in everything. So like I always say, experiment and see for yourself. But I tend to find that bigger font tends to do better, simply because my customers can see what I'm trying to say on the art print. And again, exactly the same with making any art printable. When it comes to your quotes, don't just blindly add quotes that you really like. This is about what they love to say. This is about what's popular and trending on Pinterest and Instagram and all the places that they will be hanging out. What slogans are they seeing time and time again? And if you can pick up on slogans that are really quite popular, and again, you do have to be careful when it comes to slogans and make sure that they are not subject to anything like copyright or infringement or anything like that. You don't want to be using people's names in your slogans. You don't want to be using certain common catchphrases that are in movies and films that are copyrighted anyway. So just be really sure that it's something that isn't copyright. But there are tons of tools and resources that I'm going to list for you down below, just to help you kind of stay on track and make sure that you're not using any phrases that perhaps you shouldn't. But other than that, just using big typography, big written words I tend to find are much more user-friendly when it comes to people shopping on the Etsy platform. But again, this is just specific to my audience, and it's going to take you a little while to figure out what your exact audience is looking for. The most important thing for you to do is to make sure that you are first paying attention to exactly why you are creating those printables in the first place. It's not for you, it's for your customer. So you're going to need to use tools like Marmalade, Etsy, Google search, and anything else like Pinterest that you can find out what's popular in your niche. Now that we've kind of talked about the big points of creating art printables and why you should be creating art printables, let's actually get into how to create them.